AGSC 305, welcome to Module 11 here. Good to see you again. This module is going to continue on with our AET work. If you'll notice that you think back, we've started with the foundational projects, and then we are moving on to the placement project, which you did in Module 10, and we did a paid and unpaid placement with that. This module, Module 11, is going to cover research SAEs. So the one thing that I really want to make sure that you understand for this module is that there are two assignments. All right, both assignments due at the normal time, but two separate assignments for this module. If you take a look here at the Module 11 homepage, we'll start off here, the video up here that you've found already. But next, there are 5 different resources that we've gathered for you for research SAEs. Several of these here are from our friends at the AET. The last couple ones are some SAE tips and other research ideas, and we'll start off here by taking a look at these files. So one of the assignments in this module is to actually develop your own research plan that one of your students might carry out. This page here, this from Cornell, is different scientific research that's applicable to high school students. What it is here's some ideas, the ways that you can formulate these different research plans. So this is a resource from Cornell. If we come back over here, the USDA has also put together a list of different Ag Science Fair project ideas. We believe that the Agricultural Science Fair is one of the more underutilized SAE areas. If you ask some of our current ag teachers out there, they would tell you that our Ag Science Fair projects are one of the easiest ways to get your students competitive. It wouldn't be surprising if I told you that coaching a livestock team is going to be difficult to get your students competitive. But Ag Science Fair projects are very well possible for you to get your students competitive quickly. So take a look at these. These are some resources that will provide some ideas for you as you work through your assignments this week. Next, we have just similar to Module 10 and Module 9, we have a example case study. This one revolves around research SAEs and how do we actually record those entries that are specific to a research SAE. And so that is here with this one. And then I'll come back to this after we but this is going to be your research SAE proposal that you will complete. So let's first take a look at the research case study that's going to be put into AET, this module. So here we have our research SAE case study. You're going to start off very similar to how you have with other projects. Oops, I pulled up the wrong one. I do apologize. I pulled up the placement. Let me find the correct one here. Okay, research SAE for your research. Here we have it. I apologize about that delay. This one here, you'll set it up just as you have with others. So we're going to be working with this new experience, this quail habitat research project. Just as you would in any other, we're going to come into that project experience manager. You can see here that I have some other, my paid and unpaid placements from Module 10. Come up here, click New. This is going to be my quail habitat. It's going to be individual still. But now you see here, this is the agri-science, the research experimental. We're going to find it under, let's see, what did I have it listed under? Natural resources. So let's go put this under natural resources. And our subcategory, it looks like it didn't specify, so we'll leave it as natural resource systems again. So there we go. Click save. We now have our quail habitat set up in here. You'll notice that the pencil has a red X there, meaning that we have not done the SAE plan yet. You'll also know that we have this dollar symbol here for the budget. Because this is a research, we have not seen that with the foundational or with the placement yet. So therefore, it's telling you that we should really think about completing a budget for this project. We also see that we have no financial entries or any entries yet. So let's go back to our setup here. So here is you're developing your plan. Make sure that you go ahead and fill in all of these plan items. A few folks in the class have lost some points for not completing all the aspects of the plan. Please be thorough with it, and be sure that when you do your learning outcomes, what should be attached to it. And those are the TEKs. So now, moving down, it says let's take a look at your financial entries. So it looks like that we have Yule Ranches, and they have agreed to fund our research, and they have funded it at a level of $1,200 on September 1st of 2015. Now, with a research project, it's going to be very similar to an entrepreneurship project. And what I mean by that is we can come right in here and see that it says SAE cash entries. That research funding is going to go in as a cash entry. And it's actually going to be cash income. And what we can do here, we'll find, I think it was September 1 of 15. So let's go back to 15, September 1. And who was it? That was the Yule Ranches. And then down here we can find our quail habitat. And you'll see here that we actually have an option for research funding. So click on that. And I'll put in 12,000. But here in my memo, and we found that the last one that I made those memos a little too long and we ran out of character space. But let's go over here and see funded research for quail study. Okay, and we'll hit save and return. So now we have our funding for our quail habitat research project. As we move through this here, you will then see that we have cash income and expenses, and now this time it's going to be expense. So just as we were at in this last spot, right? Come back into finances, and you can click cash entries and click on an expense, cash expense. I'd like to take you back to this screen. So this is a screen, is a transaction list that we get to at the end. Just a little option for you as far as saving you some clicks. Instead of having to go up here and click on the finances, they can go back in. You also find that there are these buttons right here that you can click New Entrepreneurship Expense. It takes you right back to that screen that if I were to take you here to Finances tab, SAE Cash Entries, Cash Expense. Same screen, less clicks. So just a shortcut hopefully for you that you can see. You'll go ahead and enter in these expense items. And so these were all done on 9/1 as well. The vendor was the feed store and so forth. Now, something here that we need to be considerate of is we are purchasing a non-current item here for this project. This is a laptop. With a laptop, we hopefully would understand that that is not going to be used up within a year. So going back to our financial unit in this course, hopefully you remember that a non-current item is something that will not be used within 1 year or one fiscal year. So we sure hope that our laptop will last more than a year. I understand technology goes by fast, but let's hope for more than a year on that laptop. So with that, it's just slightly different. This time I'd like you to go into here to the finances. And you'll actually see that here is a non-current item manager. So non-current capital item manager. So inventory or sold items. We're going to add a new inventory item. So be sure that when you're recording your entry here, that it isn't just going into an expense item. And if you were to enter it just as an expense, we'll be calling it a current inventory item, and our laptop is not. Let's go back over here. You'll notice that there's some information here, right, that is maybe not necessarily found on other entries. We have a salvage value of it for $500. That means at the end of it, we're hoping that we could still get $500 for it. That might be optimistic, but we'll go with it. We have a depreciation schedule of 5 years for this laptop. So if you come back here, this stuff is all pretty self-explanatory. Type of item, what are we looking at? Well, it's probably going to be under machinery, equipment, and fixtures. So it's not livestock, it's not land or land improvements, but it's going to be machinery, equipment, and fixtures. Down here, we get a depreciation method. In our example, it said 5 year. Now, we also said that it had a salvage value of 500 and an acquisition cost of 800. Okay? And at this point, this is grayed out for 100% business usage. Reason being for that is we don't have more than one SAE project that it can be associated with at this time. If it did, we'll show that to you in a later project where we can apply different usage values to each of the projects. So when you're done with that, hit save. I'm going to cancel out of it. So that will be this non-current item that we need to put in. The last part here that I'd like you to go through is this journal activity, or the journaling. Remember, journal refers to time. So here we need to go through and put in these different examples of the journal. Remember, if there is ... that means where you need to fill in. Over here, something a little bit different is it asks if there was supervision. That means, did you have an ag teacher making a visit and showing you their project? Yes. Select one of the teachers in there. You can select me, select Mr. Hannah, Dr. Hannah-Griff. It doesn't matter, whatever you choose to do. And then the last part that I'd like you to, or the last two parts, are the photos and that developing an annual review. In this photo section, I'd like to go back. There was a little bit of confusion last week with the photo section. If we go into portfolio here, and we choose to upload a file, so let's go find a picture here. We'll find a picture of my kids for kicks and giggles. Okay, so I'm uploading this file of my kids. Now, what I haven't done yet, though, is I haven't associated it with an experience. Last time I had many of you that hopefully everybody commented on everybody's post, but I didn't get your pictures when you did your report. Reason being is that it left here in the general. You need to go ahead and associate it with an experience and then caption your photos. The reason we caption those photos is that the students will then be able to refer back to those photos at a later date to ensure that they remember what was going on at that point. This will become very useful when you start getting towards Lone Star degrees, proficiency awards, and scholarships. Make sure you put your 3 photos in there, put them with the right project, and caption them for me. All right, let's go back here. Last thing, it says develop an annual review. Follow a similar process, close the project. So if we come back in here, we can go into our experience manager, and we come over here and we click on the clipboard now. The clipboard is an annual review of scope. This box, believe it or not, is very big, and you can actually type quite a bit into it. Here is where you would list the details of your SAE project. Did you grow that year? How did it grow? Those types of aspects. I always encourage my students to write me a paragraph of what actually happened. This is going to be different than their SAE plan of what they hoped would happen. This is what actually did happen. Complete that and then save, and that goes into your annual review. Okay, and then you can always come in here, toggle off, turn that project off. And then as you are looking to finish out, click that reports button, and we can do single experience SAE reports. Click which project you want, and we'll come right over here, complete report PDF. It'll pop up with this complete report, and mine is pretty blah. Okay, and so you'll see that my picture I canceled out of it, but my picture should show up here when I correctly attach that picture to that experience. Okay, and as I have gone long on this time here, the last thing I want to go over is the research SAE proposal. This is a 2-page research SAE idea. This would be a research proposal that one of your students could carry out. If you look at here, it says, first off, it needs a narrative that outlines the research idea. Provide a link to an online resource someone can use to learn more. So where are we going with this research? Where did the idea come from? Define a hypothesis or research goal and relate it to your project idea. Then we're looking at time. These should follow scientific methods. Define potential expenses that relate to the project. Even if school resources are used, be cognizant of that. And then identify ideas to seek funding. Who might be interested in supporting this type of a student research project? And then what are some of these project outcomes that can be measured? And this all should be formatted with APA, the 6th edition. References are required. Please use them in the appropriate format. And then upload your complete assignment to eCampus. One of the reasons that I like to spend some time on this is, if we really stop and think about it, a research SAE is often connected to school facilities. This is a really strong strategy for incorporating non-traditional ag students, students with low socioeconomic status, those that may not have the ability to look at some of those traditional SAE projects. With that, these projects have the capability of taking students just as far or farther than those traditional SAE projects. So these are very powerful projects that could really complement your classroom efforts. Just as always, folks, if you have questions, please do not hesitate to email me or come by my office. We are almost there, folks. We are on the home stretch. We have just after, including this module, 4 modules left. Hang tight, stay strong. The semester is coming to an end quickly. All right, folks, take care.